Right, sir. It's a very good evening to you. I've just witnesses. Mnangagwa has nothing to apologize for appointing his qualified sons. Today, writes analyst Dr. Masimba Mavaza. Have you read the article? Have you seen the article? Well, whatever the case, Dr. Mavaza is right here with us on this session. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Simba. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
Sir, I'm looking at your article. I'm sure you've seen the reactions, the negative reactions. You have attracted a pile, a ton of traffic. This is rage that you have stirred in our community. How on earth do you write such an article? Let me hear you. Go ahead.
Firstly, Simba, we should be applauding the president for his wisdom in selecting such a cabinet. You know, a cabinet, it is a team which will work with the president, which will have to achieve his goals. So he has to look for a team which he can play with, which he can work with, which he can command. A cabinet is not, we don't choose people who are wanted by the public. It's not a public contest. That's why we don't elect ministers. That's why we don't elect cabinet members. They are appointed by the president. And if you look at that, there is no contract per se for a minister. When the president wants to fire him, he can fire him without notice on that day. If he thinks at a rally that he does not want this minister anymore, he will simply say, Minister so and so is relieved of his duties, and the letter follows. So a cabinet is not one which can be appointed to please people, but it must be appointed so that it can work together, it put the hands on the deck. So the president had not done anything wrong in doing so. Furthermore, I wanted us to look at this issue. It is not peculiar to Zimbabwe that the president selected his two sons or nephews, whatever they are. The president looked at their qualifications. The president looked at what they can offer and what they can do. It's not a training on the job. It is what they can do. You need to understand one thing. There is no school where ministers are being trained. There is no school where we train deputy ministers appointed to a job, and they have to work in that job. They have to improvise. They have to steer the job forward. That is what ministers do. Yes, some ministers are lucky to be back on their same position, like Mtuli Ncube, and there are some who would be lucky to be in some other positions, like Ziambi. Yes, at least is now going into the ministry with experience of these last 5 years, and now is now experienced. But still, we cannot blame the president for appointing people who are close to him. The cabinet should be people you trust and people who trust you, people who see your dream, people who believe in you. So this is a matter of what can they offer to Zimbabwe. It's too early to us to start running up and down and screaming that these people were not supposed to be appointed. No, this is very wrong. We allow them. Furthermore, I wanted us to look at different countries. In Rwanda, the president had appointed their own daughter to be the chief director in the president's office, a position which is quite delicate in governance. In America, Joe Biden has appointed his two children, his son-in-law, his wife's brother. He appointed 7 close relatives into high offices, including running the state house. If you have read the article very well, I have given a chronology of the American presidents to the last one who have appointed their members, their family members to government positions. And I'm not doing it because America is an example, but it's because it's the one which is actually sponsoring these dissenting voices about the appointments of our cabinet. President to run his cabinet, allow the president to do what he could do, allow him to form a cabinet which can work. And then halfway through, after 3 months, if you don't see any work, raise your voice. And I can assure you, the president is a listening president. He does not want to soil his legacy with failures. So what will he do? He will relieve the minister if he finds that they are not working well. I've realized, Simba, that even if you look into private companies which are run by family businesses, they live longer, they stay longer, they are there because they put people they trust in the companies. So corruption and nepotism does not mean you've put somebody there. Nepotism means putting somebody in an office as a favor, and that person is not qualified for the favor you're giving him. It's simply because he knows you. But that's not the issue. The president has put there people who have got qualifications he's looking at. So, yes, we cannot all be ministers. I would love to be a minister, you want to be a minister, or you even want to be a president. But we can't all be ministers. We can't all be presidents. So we have to work with those who are there. So to those who are bitter, I will say in Shona, Tamba imesene ma minister matsva ndokuti mujairani.
Well, Dr. Mavaza, thank you very much for your delivery. People, I'm sure you've seen these questions are asking because the Biden that you've cited there, which cabinet posts, which government posts did he assign his children to?
I can give you in 1 minute just what. Are you sure you can see me now?
I think it's in the dark now, sir.
I just want you to go to the issue in 1 second, right? Okay, let me tell you that before I put my face back. I can quote from the Daily Mail, about American newspaper, written by Keith Griffiths. He quoted and said, "We have the highest ethical standards of any administration in history. Jen Psaki defends Biden administration hiring family members, including a sister, chief of staff, Ron Klain's wife, and White House counselor Steve Ricetti's 2 sons and a daughter into high government positions." So this is the current situation as we speak, where President Biden had appointed his wife, his sister, his brother-in-law, his 2 sons into state house positions, which are public positions, which are positions, then we cannot blame him. Why? Because that's the team he wants to work with. We are simply saying, yes, it might not show a good picture, but we must look beyond the picture. We must see why it is done. People select those they can work with. So America has done it and nobody complains. But once in Zimbabwe, everybody wants to complain as if we have killed anybody. We've simply put up ministers we trust, and the ministers the president trusts. Yes, there are bitter people within ZANU-PF. They would have loved to be part of this, but we all do. But we can't all be ministers, and therefore we only had 26 ministries to be covered out of 15, 16 million people. So it is difficult to choose 26 out of 16. But in that case, I wanted us to, again, Simba, to realize one point. I quoted Panji Kaunda. He said the Kaunda family were qualified, but they suffered. They could not get high posts in the government because President Kaunda was afraid that people would think he's practicing nepotism. As a result, people who were competent and who could have got the jobs could not, because of their proximity to the president. That is something which we as people, we must trust the president. By giving him the trust to run the country, we must trust him to choose a team which can run the country with him. So there is nothing wrong, and there is no apology which will come from the president. Actually, I'll quote the words of the president when he was interviewed yesterday. He said, "Those who are bitter about the appointment of this cabinet, they must wait until they are presidents. Then they can choose the cabinet they are comfortable with. But for now, we work with what we have. And those were the words of the president.
That's like Muchaita say.
Yes,
But
exactly.
yeah, but on a more serious note, Dr. Mavaza here. Come on, these are you two kids, your own son. You appoint your own son deputy finance minister, and your son has already been named in another scandal, and he is accused of running a business that was even reported to the police that has got a docket, Spartan Investments, David Mnangagwa, and now all of a sudden he is deputy finance minister. He is deputizing Mtuli Ngube, practically make him more. I mean, it automatically makes him more powerful than Mtuli Ngube. It makes him the finance. No, in actual fact, not just the finance minister. This time, it makes him both the finance minister and the Reserve Bank of. Of this, the head of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, plus the son of the head of state. I mean, isn't that too much power entrenched in one place?
No,
No
actually,
matter how qualified. I mean, the son could easily be someone who has got a doctorate, someone who worked in the World Bank, assuming that is the case. But isn't this too much power in one place, which
first
is
of all,
unhealthy for a state?
let me allay your fears about the scandal you have talked about. This was only mentioned by a political opponent who was talking in a program which he was actually trying to please the people. He just talked that there was a docket. He just talked that they were stealing monies. They were providing money changers with money, but there was no proof. And we don't. It does not even have the police reference number or which police station. He said Zach had said they are not investigating any of the first family members because they have no complaints which has been sent to them. So it's surprising that Jealous Mawa really knows that, and yet he does not work for Zach. So we cannot rely on gossip and the rumor. Simba, we have had a lot of people saying things about people which they cannot prove, and they still want people to believe them. I am a living example, Simba, where people would say to other people, "This man is a thief because he's an UPF, he's a lawyer, he stole from me when he was practicing or when he's practicing." A lot of nonsense. When I confront the people and say, "Show me the evidence," nothing comes up. So what we are looking at is people can talk; they are allowed to talk, but there is no concentration of power to one family. There is power to the president because he's the executive leader. And therefore, he does not exercise that power alone. He chooses the cabinet, the trusted members who become his advisors, who run the departments he gives them, and they would run those departments according to the plan. You see, the focus the president has is that 2020 30, we should have a middle income economy in our Zimbabwe. And then he has people who are seeing that possibility with him. And those are the ones who can work with him. Those are the ones who can help him. Those are the ones who push him to that forward. So if that is not done, it does not make sense to choose people who are loved by people but who cannot perform. We want people who can do the specific performance and who can rise to the occasion. This is a cabinet which we need to pull Zimbabwe out of the doldrums it has been to a middle economy country. And that's what we are looking at. And that's what is happening. And therefore, those who are looking for a change of the cabinet, what we have now is what you have. And that's what you'll get. And you will get what you have had. And that is what we are going to work with until Zimbabwe gets its status of being breadbasket and being the richest country in the southern of Africa.
And you genuinely think that we'll get there, Dr. Mavaza, with a cabinet that has arguably, and I'm going to use the word carefully, allegedly four children, right? Four Mnangagwa children, because there are two others that I won't mention their names here. Right? And you think that there will be democratic um, exchange of ideas, efficiency as well. I also call it maybe a democratic efficiency.
There will be total democratic efficiency in that if there are 4 children of the president or 10, even if all the cabinet was his children, they will work hard not to embarrass their father. They have nothing to
Oh,
gain by losing.
you think it will work the other way around? What people are complaining about could actually be a blessing in disguise.
It will be a wonderful blessing in disguise. Why is it becoming a blessing in disguise? It is because those people will not benefit anything by losing, by working less expected. So they have to work hard to make sure the name of their father continues. The legacy of the president will continue. The president, when they are serving their last term, they are not serving only for themselves, but for the whole country, to leave the country at a better place so that when they look back, they will say, during my last term, this was developed, and that's where we are. We have seen the fruits of how the president works with his old team last year, and we want to progress in the same thing, to proceed in the same spirit. And that's what we are saying, with the president on our side, with the team is trust, and the team is the one who understands it. Allow him that opportunity. That's why our constitution does not tell us who should be appointed as the prime minister. That's why there is no law which tells us how to appoint a minister or a deputy minister. It is appointed by the president. How he chooses them, how he looked at the CV, what criteria is used, it's entirely up to the president. And therefore, we should applaud him and thank him and say, congratulations, Your Excellence, for the good cabinet we have selected. And we now look forward to continue working for our people.
Here we are, viewers witnesses. This is Dr. Mavaza, and it's written an article today, and it is titled. Excuse me, I'm going to try to remember. Dr. Mavaza, remind me here. It is titled.
It is nothing to apologize for appointing the cabinet, even if they were his qualified children.
Even if there was qualified children,
Yeah.
and qualified there remains contested, right?
Yes, but it still remains qualified. Whether we contest it or not, they still remain qualified.
Well, our viewers, witnesses, here we are. We are not going to take too much time. We're just going to be reading your comments and your feedback for about 2-3 minutes, and then we'll be done and dusted. Someone is saying Mnangagwa ndisatan chaiye kuchinja nyika kuita family company yake. Someone is saying here imbava imbwadza vanhu. Okay, I won't read the other words there. They are a bit too much. Just 2 secs. I'm proceeding here. I apologize as I continue.
Are you back, Simba?
Right. Yes, I'm here. Some more comments here. Someone is saying sakavana vake ivavo ndivo chete Zimbabwe yese vano qualify to do that position. Hanzi ndivo vega here vano qualify Zimbabwe yese vana ivavo. Are those kids the only qualified in this entire country?
Yes, Simba. The answer is there are thousands who can qualify to that position. So do you want us to have 1,000 ministers for one position? No. Common sense tells us that we put the one who qualifies most. So according to the judgment of the president, they are the ones who have qualified. And we have to work with that.
Some people are still screaming, "This is nepotism." Keep the comments coming. Today is a short session because this was merely to just introspect and inspect, debate Dr. Masimba Mavaza's article here on this topical one that relates to the appointment of the children of Mr. Mnangagwa to cabinet positions, and and several others here. And by the way, Dr. Mavaza, what happened to the Ministry of Health?
Minister of Health, Dr.
Ko
Mombeshwara, is
isusu marebhara makabva matidzinga kuMinistry of Health.
the Minister of Health, Dr. Mombeshwara, is now in charge, and the Vice President is now having a lot of time to be the Vice President. And again, as you remember, very soon in the next 2-3 days, we'll be told which vice president, which portfolios does the vice president look over. So we won't be surprised to see Dr. Chiwenga looking over the Ministry of Health as well, or it could be Dr. Dagish, Colonel Dagish Mohadi.
And still on that, is this not another big bombshell here that you folks, you bring back Kembo Mohadi to head the vice presidency after that whole scandal, number one, and then number two again, his daughter is still a commissioner in the ZEC. So basically, they'll be appointing each other. I mean, the daughter will appoint. I mean, isn't that too much power there? I think that will be the last question, because the return of Kembo Mohadi, who is the father of a ZEC commissioner. That's a very senior position in the country. These are the people who appoint. I mean, that announcement that they make, the result announcement, is an appointment in itself. So Kembo Mohadi comes back. Father, vice president, right in the presidency, right in the top echelon there. Daughter is an appointer.
No, Simba, the
Huh?
vice president is not appointed by ZEC. People don't vote for vice presidents. They don't have to have constituencies. So it is not them to be voted for by any. So in other words, then when you look at it closely, ZEC had no say on the vice president. It is the prerogative of the president and the president alone. And the vice presidents under our constitution do not have to have constituencies, are not elected by people. They are appointed by the president. And again, that's a team he works with, and he appoints those he's comfortable to work with.
Right, but we do have this intertwined string here that both the commissioner, right, whose daughter, right, and the vice president are appointed by one person, and then the commissioner appoints or announces the man. I mean, three people there, power just rotating among each other there. What I mean by that is that, look, like in this case, Millicent Mohadi was appointed, okay, by the
Right.
president before the 2023 elections. Then she announced or she appoints, right, her appointer back into presidency. And then the appointer appoints Millicent's father. Isn't that a circle?
No, it is actually the fruits of democracy that you are free to appoint and reappoint and appoint again. So it can look like a circle, but those are the fruits of democracy, and we must be careful because of that. That's democracy in action. The unexpected happens in democracy.
Well, Zimbabwe's nation around the world. The article is on your news network, Zimai. Let's continue debating on it. And Dr. Mavaza, thank you very much. I'm going to put the link here so that people can continue munching on the article. I think I've got
Thank
it
you.
here, so I'll just try and just paste it in the comments area here. And keep the comments coming. Keep the comments coming, folks.
Thank you,
Anything
Simba.
else you want to just drop as the last word of Dr. Mavaza?
Lastly, I just want to say to Zimbabwe, please help me to congratulate the president, Emerson Mnangagwa, for being re-elected president of Zimbabwe. It shows that you have trusted your president, you love him, and thank you so much. And because you love him, you must love his cabinet too. God bless you all. God bless Zimbabwe.
Right, here we go, obvious witnesses. We're just putting the link here so people can read the article. Let's keep the comments coming, debating around this. Are you in agreement with this? I think the article is on your screen here. Dr. Mavaza, thank you very much. We're hoping that we're gonna have a bigger panel today, but unfortunately we couldn't. And yet, we have a fair crowd here. A total of 625 people watching at the same time, from all our platforms, which is not a small crowd. But I think it would have been good if we had planned in advance and really had a good munching on this debate. What do you think, Dr. Mavaza?
I think we can continue tomorrow with Zokora, Mukori, and some Triple C guys, and whoever wants to think otherwise. We can continue and discuss it tomorrow.
Wow, thank you very much. Someone is saying abantu bezanu bafuna impala nje kupela bayadelela bayadelela. Dr. Mavaza, bayadelela,
Uyahlanya lo. Siyamtholela nje.
Right, here we go, folks. Thank you very much. Let's catch up soon. Of yours says, do jump on your news network, Zimai, for this and more. Thank you. Thank you.
This is Zimai Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot.